Tien, Tenshinhan. I respect this character. I respect this man. He was Goku's very first major rival, in my opinion, if you don't include Master Roshi, which I do not, because he was his sensei. But Tien was Goku's real first challenge. And in fact, in their very first tournament together, Tien won. Tien beat Goku in the finals of the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai tournament. And sometimes people forget this. Tien was no joke at one point. And it's really sad that they haven't done a lot with his character since essentially the Cell Saga. In a lot of ways, they wasted his potential in the Buu Saga first. At least in the Cell Saga, he was willing to step up against a man like Cell, Imperfect Cell, in his second form. Obviously, leagues stronger than Tien, but Tien's willing to go in there and knowing he's going to die, willing to put his life on the line, not willing to sit on the sidelines any longer. Tien always keeps training, but the show never allows him to do anything of note that shows that his training is doing anything for his character, is doing anything for his power level, anything at all. Technique. They had so many opportunities during the Dragon Ball Z portion of this franchise to put Tien over, to give him some new maneuvers. Tien should have learned the Kaioken when he was in Otherworld. He was training with King Kai, I believe, longer than Goku, and yet he came back with a higher power level, we assume, and he trained for 3 years for the androids, and the best we get is a really memorable, amazing moment, in my opinion, with Imperfect Cell. But that was it. That was Tien's pinnacle. That was his swan song in a lot of ways. And it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Tien has always been willing to go against fighters beyond his level, willing to put his life on the line for everybody else, to do whatever it takes to just, if there's a sliver of a chance. When he went up against King Piccolo, he probably didn't think he had a chance, but he still tried his very best. When Tien went up against Nappa, when Tien saw his best friend Chaozu die, and Tien decided to put everything he had left into his life-sucking tri-beam, Kikoho, if you will, Tien has always been willing to make that sacrificial call, if necessary. Always willing to fight when called upon. After they beat Cell, after they brought Trunks back to life, Tien decided to bounce. And this is the end of the Cell Saga. And before he left, I believe he said that they might never see him again. And that was a very interesting line that they decided to have Tien say there in the manga. And I don't know if he said it in the anime, but he really mentioned that they might never see him again, and he was going to probably go off and train, I assume. And during the 7 years between the Cell and Buu arc, I assume he trained even more. And we really didn't get to see him in the tournament arc of the Buu saga. And they mentioned him. I believe Krillin said they couldn't find him, or they didn't know where he was. It seemed like they were setting Tien up for something, like he was going to come in later in the Buu arc to help, to do something of note. At least give us another Imperfect Cell moment, a sacrificial moment that he's known for. I mean, it's been so long, time-wise, since the gang has even seen Tien. Arguably, you could have said he went through some major training over that 7-year gap. If they had just set it up a little bit, he could have come back with something very interesting. In the Dragon Ball Multiverse comic, he does a a double tri-beam with his multi-arm technique, and that would have been a cool move to use right there. I know it's just a fictional idea, but that would have been something, even though it's just stacking attacks on top of attacks. Honestly, it would have been nice to see him come in and show that his power has increased. They had so many opportunities, like I've said, to boost Tien up, to put him up a level here in the Dragon Ball franchise. And yet they don't do it. When he was in Otherworld training with King Kai, there was an opportunity there. It's disappointing. The last time Tien really got a big power up was when they trained to fight Nappa and Vegeta, and back then he was right there hanging in there with old Piccolo's power level. I mean, he was right there. He was the number 3 guy. Then Vegeta goes babyface, turns into a hero, and Tien's out of there. Tien, at best, gets to show up, like in the Tournament of Power arc, like in the Resurrection F saga movie, and take on a couple cronies. But then, in the end, either stands by and watches Goku and Vegeta handle business, or gets his ass beat by the main bad guy, or usually at this point, not even the main bad guy. And honestly, I would have preferred him having to die when he fought Cell. At least it would have meant more. And maybe he could have went to Otherworld and got some major training. Tien has so much potential, and I think it is time for Tenshinhan, the legend, a man I just recently got tattooed on my leg, to get some character development, at the very least. This is one of the reasons I believe Dragon Ball Super should come out with multiple spin-off series involving different parts of the Dragon Ball universe. Goku and Vegeta are Dragon Ball Super. They are off training off-world, usually with Whis and Beerus. And what's going on Earth? Why don't we have a couple episodes of Dragon Ball Super just showing what everybody else is doing for once, while Goku and Vegeta are off training, or while Goku and Vegeta are off fighting the main villain, instead of having them job out to the main villain or fight a couple grunts that really don't matter to the story, that are just there to appease us Tien Shinhan fans. He still has the potential. I really like what they did by giving him a dojo, at least in the anime. But they don't have any. He has no students of note that have done anything or shown that Tien's training really does anything. And that's what Tien needs if they want to develop his character. Maybe give Tien a student that matters to the future of Dragon Ball. If they end up doing a time skip, Tien could be aged out. If they jump up to another 7 to 10 years, Tien might be too old at that point to really keep up, and I'd understand that. But if he wants to be a sensei like Master Roshi, if that's his path, that's a cool path. Develop that path. One thing they could do is give him a student like Oob, the man who's coming up in the world. A student like Oob, and he could be a big factor in training Oob and making him, getting him ready. Even if Oob is just naturally stronger than Tien, thanks to being the reincarnation of Majin Buu, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you naturally have technique. Hard work is what Tien can teach Oob. And he can also teach Oob some techniques that he has developed, like the Tri-Beam, like the Multiform, like the Multi-Arm technique, like the Solar Flare, like... There's so much the Crane style can be passed on. I mean, look at the show Cobra Kai. Tien is easily a version of the Crane school, the Roshi Turtle school. I mean, Tien is Johnny Lawrence of the Dragon Ball franchise. He could be his own. He could take a whole spin-off on Tien's character, on Tien trying to find a new student, even if it's a new character altogether that he decides to train up and to succeed him. Maybe we can dive deeper into Tien's third eye backstory. I've heard a few things that Toriyama might have said in interviews about it, but let's see it on screen. Let's see it in the manga. I want to know what's the deal with this mysterious third eye, and they could use that alone to give Tien a power-up. Just have him develop something that he didn't know about his ancestry, or an ability that no one else can learn. If they need that to legitimize Tien, I am down. It's time for a return to form. Tien deserves a renaissance of sorts, similar to what happened to Roshi in the Tournament of Power. Roshi got a shit ton of screen time and a shit ton of memorable moments that really put his character back on the map. And I think we can do the same with Tien, and it wouldn't cost a lot. Maybe at most 10 episodes. Doesn't even have to be in a row. Just for him. And you can have Chaozu as a supporting character. You can throw Yamcha, Krillin, Roshi can be involved into these episodes. But you don't really need Goku and Vegeta. Obviously, they have become gods now, and they are the most important part of this franchise. They sell the toys, they sell the video games, they sell the merchandise, and Tien just, I guess, doesn't do that, and it's a sad thing to have to cope with. But I am a big Tenshinhan fan, and I feel he deserves more. He deserves better. It's time Tien got a power-up. It's time Tien got some character development. If you don't want to give Tien oob, if it just makes the story a little too complicated, which it shouldn't, it would be very easy. They don't see Tien for years at a time, and it's not weird. If Tien ended up being Oob's first sensei, off-screen or on-screen, whatever. I prefer it to be on-screen, but really taught him everything he knows form-wise, even, and develops his ki control, and maybe can use all of Tien's moves. Wow. For the strongest human in my book, Tien, to train now the next strongest human, because Oob's a human now, would be amazing. It would make a lot of sense. Oob wears that one strapped gi, kind of like Tien did back in the day, and he could be his first student. I think that story would be fan-freaking-tastic. Teaches him the tri-beam, teaches him other moves, and then after that, yes, Oob can learn under Goku, like the story says. But it would be a great way to develop both of them during this time skip of sorts. But if they don't want to give him Oob, you can give him two characters that are also in desperate need of character development, in desperate need of their own identities. And that's Kid Trunks and Goten. Goten especially, who really needs his own identity. I personally hope they give him the Lady Killer gimmick they gave him in GT when they decided to grow him up. But story-wise, I feel like Goten or Kid Trunks, or both, would really benefit from going to learn under the master that is Tenshinhan. They could learn some of his techniques. They could develop form. That's one of the biggest arguments I have against Gotenks, against Goten and Kid Trunks, is that the only thing they've got going for them is fusion, and they're rarely shown training, of seriously at least. I feel like Trunks had a little bit of training before the Buu saga really got going, and after that, they really haven't shown him or Goten seriously training under a master. Oh my god, it'd be fantastic. It'd be very reminiscent of when Goku and Krillin trained with Master Roshi. Give Tien that moment. Make him a true sensei of the crane style. Not only would he develop and grow as a character and probably in power by training with these little Super Saiyans, but at the same time, he could probably kick their asses individually using skill over power. And that would be a great way to start this relationship. Maybe they get a little cocky and he shows them that he can beat them with skill, with technique over raw power, which all they have right now is raw power. But Goten and Trunks have so much potential to be so much more than that. Their power level they were born with had to be significant, just like Broly's. So they have the potential to be so much more going forward when they decide to grow them up. But before that, allow them to develop. Allow Tien especially to develop. If you have to not develop Goten and Trunks to develop Tien, then definitely do that. I would much I'd like that more. Tien deserves this. Tien deserves his renaissance. If they want to keep it simple, just let Tien go out there against a main villain in a future story and let him die. Let him make the ultimate sacrifice for real this time. Let it happen, and maybe the villain has some weird ability that Tien can't come back. There's no wishing him back. Maybe they die and they don't go to the other world. Maybe they get sucked into some other universe or some bullshit that they could come up with. Something sad and emotional, or let him retire with some dignity instead of bringing him back just to job him out. What do you think? Do you think Tenshinhan deserves a renaissance? Not only we would get Tien, we'd get a little bit more Chaozu as well, which I believe would be amazing. And I feel like Chaozu as well has so much potential to be the Chopper, to be the Pikachu of this series, but they just tossed him aside. I'm Mr. Morfetto. What do you think? Please comment down below. What character do you think deserves a renaissance like they gave Master Roshi? I think it's Tenshinhan. I'll talk to you later.